So today's session is about the tips and techniques to choose the right career choice. Okay, all of us have this confusion, all of us are worried. What is it that we should be doing in the future? What kind of role is going to be suitable for us? Whether what we have taken has scope or not, and the many different options available today. So we will be walking you through all the different choices that are possible and some tips and techniques to decide on the right career choice. All right. Okay. So first, let us start off with why we need career planning. Why do we need career planning? We never had career planning when we were young and when your parents were young and all of these things, right? But we all seem to have done okay. So what is the necessity for career planning now? Why do you need to think about this instead of just choosing whatever comes your way? Okay, so this is a survey that has been conducted by a company called Gallup, okay, in 2016, and there was only one question in this survey. And the question was, are you happy going to work on Monday morning? That was the only question in the survey. And look at the response. Look at the response. An overwhelming 87% of the people have said that they are not happy with what they are doing and they wish that they could do things differently. Only 13% of people feel any kind of sense of connection towards their jobs. You must have also heard, as students, you must have heard your aunts, uncles, dads, moms complaining about their jobs, not liking their jobs. This seems to be the norm, actually. This seems to be like the default situation. Only very few people you meet will say that, I like my job, actually, right? So to get to that place, okay, to get to that place of I like my job, you need to actually think and plan. Second thing is today's world is very different from what it was 20 years ago. Okay, there are so many changes that have been brought about because of technology, unimaginable earlier. Like, the world has become smaller. It is so easy to go from one end of the country to another end of the country in a matter of hours now, right? So all this was not possible earlier. And there are new age careers that have come up now, which many parents and students are not aware of because nobody in their social circle has taken up anything like that, right? We all know engineering, we all know medicine. To some extent, we know pure science. But apart from that, what are the different new careers that have come up, right? Let me tell you, for example, there's a role of a UX designer. So if a child is actually good at drawing, design, art, has a good sense of color, combination, all of these things, okay, but is very weak in math and science, right? So typically the parents, when they come to like 8th standard, 9th standard, parents would have said, okay, stop now all this drawing and all enough. Now you study math and science because that is the only way you can get into a top tech company if that is your dream. Now, there is this new role called UX designer, which has come up over the last few years that actually allows a student to be good at art and color and drawing and all these things and still work for a top tech company, right? So what happens? So what does a UX designer do? UX designer is the person who designs the app or the website, right? So you just think of the number of apps on your phone, just think of each page in an app and just think of how much of work is there for UX designers. It's one of the most in demand and hot roles of the future. Okay, so for which you need to have an understanding of computers, but also be good at art and craft and drawing and all those things. Okay, so now you notice what I said. So you have to have an understanding of computers, you have to have an understanding of computer science and be good at drawing and art and all those things. So new skill sets, right, that have come up. Okay, new demands for different aptitudes that have come up. So this is actually the new world. Now you can see digitization everywhere, computer science everywhere. If you say I don't know computer science, it's very difficult to work, even though you may not have anything to do directly with the computer science. You may not be coding, you may not be writing software, but computer science has become very important. So like this new skill sets have actually been emerging over the last few years that has changed the world. Okay, so now that we understand that we need to think about what it is that we want to do, let us look at the decision of how to make the decision. Now that we know that, okay, we have to necessarily plan this, let us look at the how. Okay, Okay, so this is the foremost confusion. Okay, if you look, ask any student in this age group, in the 16 to 20 age group, the biggest confusion in their minds is what should I be studying and what kind of career should I be pursuing going forward. This is the biggest confusion that they have. And which of these two things do you think you should decide first? Okay, when we ask questions to this students, some of them say, ma'am, I should decide what I should study first. And some people say, I should know what I want to become first, only then I can figure out what I should study. Right? So students give both these answers. So what is the right way? What is the right way of deciding? What should you decide first? Let me ask you a question. If you're going on a vacation or a holiday, what is the first thing that you decide? Right? Students actually say, some of them say, ma'am, what to see, what kind of clothes to pack, how to buy a ticket, how we should travel, all of these things. Right? But can you figure out any of these things without figuring out where you want to go? It is not possible. Correct? So the destination is the first thing that you have to decide. When you decide the destination, when you're clear on the destination, then you are clear about what is the pathway that you are going to take. Similarly, in your career education, why decide on education before a career? Have a goal, know a goal, and work towards that goal. That should be like your first thought. Okay, that is the first thing that you need to decide. So first figure out a goal and then figure out how to get to that goal. So first career decision, then the education decision. But there is still a third part of the puzzle which is missing, which is like very, very important. And that is knowing yourself. And if you are a parent attending today, you have to know and understand your child. What is right for your child? What kind of a personality your child has, that you should know. So what are the three things that you need to consider? When I say know yourself, what do you mean? If you actually tell somebody, okay, tell me about yourself, they might say things like, hey, I'm a friendly person, I'm outgoing, I like public speaking, I'm good at math, all of these things. Okay, so when you say personality, it is a combination of these three things that you have to consider: personality, interest, and aptitude. The role which is balancing out all of these three things is what is actually the right role for you, right? So personality, interest, aptitude, all the three things need to be considered. Okay, so what do we mean by personality? What do we mean by personality? Now, personality is something that you can tell about yourself, okay, in an unofficial way. But the right way to understand more about your personality is to take a personality test. But there are many, many personality tests that are available out there, okay, but you have to use the correct personality test, which is related to the career choices, which talks about what kind of roles will be suitable for you. Okay. Now, second thing you need to know about your personality is what you like, what you dislike, what kind of difficulties are you willing to tolerate, all these type of things. Okay. Let's say you don't like the sight of, let's say you don't even like talking to people. Okay, you are like an introverted person who likes to be alone, maybe do research into something, read about something. Now if you take up a role in maybe like sales or management, where your day-to-day activity is to talk to people, okay, you're not going to enjoy it that much. When you don't like what you are doing, what happens is many times you are not good at it. Okay, so the third point what we have to understand is you have to play to your strengths. Okay, when I say play to your strengths, what I mean is understand what is it that you are good at. Okay, what is it that you like, and take a decision based on that. In our culture, normally we say, focus more on what is the, what is your weakness, and fix your weakness. Okay, while that is important, I will not say that that is not important. What is actually more important is to identify your strengths and find roles that are actually suitable for your strength. Okay, if you like public speaking, that is a big strength, right? If you are organized, if you're systematic, Okay, that is also like a big thing. So let me just briefly explain what each of these personality traits mean. Okay, when we talk about personality here, we are talking about something called as a vocational personality. Okay, normally when we talk in colloquially, first level of understanding of personality is how I look, whether I'm tall, whether I'm short, what is my hairstyle, how I dress, all of these external things. Okay, now you have to go in one level deeper. The next step is to understand personality is not just your outside factors, it is more about what is inside you. Okay, so what kind of a person you are. Okay, third thing is what kind of vocational personality you have. Okay, this is the most important thing when it comes to making a career decision. So let me briefly explain. Okay, there are 6 different types of vocational personality: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. Now, realistic people tend to be very, very practical, outdoorsy kind of people. Okay, they're very sporty, they're adventurous. Okay, typically they like working with their hands. Like, they like to be hands on and do something. Investigative people, on the other hand, are more, thinkers. They like thinking, they like observing, they like theory, they like learning new things, that kind of a person. Artistic people tend to be more creative. Okay, not only in terms of a skill like singing, dancing, drawing, painting, any of those things, it also is their thinking itself is very creative. So sometimes you will see these students, when the teachers ask them, why didn't you do your homework, or why you scored low marks, they will come up with the most creative excuse. That is also artistic. Okay, you have to be able to come out with such reasons. All right, so they are very imaginative, they are not very conventional, they don't like following rules. Social people tend to be more of helpers. Okay, generally when you talk to them, you will find them very friendly, very kind. They're sensitive, they like to teach, they like to help, they like to actually solve other people's problems. Okay, those are social kind of people. Enterprising people have leadership skills. Okay, so they're confident, they have good leadership skills, they have convincing ability. Okay, so they are actually enterprising people. And conventional people tend to be more of detail oriented or process oriented. They're very systematic in their approach. They prefer following the rules, they don't like breaking the rules. Okay, they prefer generally to follow the rules and stick to the processes. Okay, so these are the 6 different types of vocational personality. So what kind of vocational personality is suitable for what kind of careers? Let us just look at some sample now. Okay, if you are a realistic person who likes working with your hands, being hands on, very practical kind of person, then you will like roles like this. If you are an investigative thinking kind of person, then your preference will be for roles like this, like an economist or lawyer or researcher kind of roles. If you're a creator, if you're the artistic type, you will do well in roles like architect, UX design, graphic design, and roles like this. Social people tend to be more focused on the helping aspect. So they will be good at human resource work, they will be good at social work, they'll be good as trainers, teachers, psychologists, counselors, these kind of roles. Enterprising people tend to do well in roles like sales, marketing, management, entrepreneurship, all of these things. And conventional people prefer to be in roles like CA. Like, for accounting, you cannot like go in and do your own accounting. There are certain rules that you need to follow. So, and conventional people tend to be good at following the rules. Okay, so process engineer, quality related person, so all of this will actually come under conventional occupations. Okay. Now the second aspect is your interest. Let us talk about your interest. So you have to develop a wide and varied type of interest. Okay. And pick 2 or 3 activities and go deep in that. Okay. So this is very, very important because one, you have to understand what kind of activities are there. So for that, you have to try out as many different activities as possible. Second thing, you try to pick 1 or 2 and go deep into that. Okay, it doesn't matter how unconventional it is. It doesn't have to be like traditional hobbies like drawing, painting, singing, music, this kind of thing. It can be today you have n number of hobbies, n number of activities available that you can actually try. So please make it a point to try as many activities as possible so that you know what actually holds your interest. Okay, third thing, you have to understand the difference between interest and passion. So typically you must have heard, right? People saying follow your passion. You know, if you are passionate about what you are doing, then it you will not, you will not, that's the only way to make a successful career. You have to be passionate about what you do. What is the difference? Okay, and how can you find your passion? This is something that a lot of people actually don't understand. They think that passion is something that they will just wake up one day and suddenly realize. No, at this age, when you're 15, 16, 17, what you will have is just an interest. That means a liking towards certain type of activities. As you keep doing that, okay, as you keep doing that, and as you get better and better at it, you will not mind the hardships that come with it, right? So if you see the cricket players, they're truly passionate about what they are doing. They're truly passionate about fitness, so they don't mind spending like 7 hours in the gym every day, right? But normal people who are not that, okay, will not be able to do that. Okay, so that is the difference between interest and passion. At this age, focus on understanding your interests, and then as you grow up, that becomes a passion. As you keep doing more and more, it will become a passion. Let me give you an example that you can relate to right now. Okay, playing a video game or playing a game on your phone. Okay, I'm sure, like, some of these games are so difficult. I will not even last one level in it, and I can't play it at all. But if you see my kids, they are so passionate about it. They can actually play it for such a long time, right? So that is the difference between interest and passion. You don't mind the hardships that come with a certain activity. That is important. All right. Okay. So now you're asking me, ma'am, I have this, passion, or I'm really interested in this. How can I make a career out of this? Okay. So lots of you must be on Facebook, Insta, Snapchat, whatever is the latest platform today, you must be on that. So if you like doing this, so what kind of roles are available for you today? So you have digital marketer, you have social media advisor, you have a YouTuber, or you have a blogger, right? You have roles like this. How about if you love adventure, outdoors? You have roles like wildlife biologist, Air Force pilot, travel consultant, these kind of roles. You love to draw or paint? You have roles like graphic design, art director, UX designer, set designer, animator, roles like this. How about if you love to take part in a debate? You have roles like lawyer, sales manager, entrepreneurship, IAS officer, investment banker, these kind of roles. How about if you love sports? Then you have your sports doctor, your sports marketing manager, sports event manager, you have coaches, you have many, many different types of roles. How about if you love to help people? Then you have roles like your IAS officer, psychologist, professor. Teaching is a very, very good field if you like to help people. Okay, and social field, political sciences, HR, all these kind of options are available to you. All right. Okay. Now the third aspect is your aptitude. Okay. Aptitude is what you are good at. Okay. It could be academic, it could be non-academic, and it is something that can be developed over time. Okay. So today, let us say you are good at drawing, but not so good at math. That is your aptitude. That is your aptitude. So you have an aptitude for drawing. But how can you become a great, illustrator or great at it? You have to practice. You have to develop it over time. So you have to keep working on your aptitude to make it better and better, right? So if you are a good singer, okay, if you're good at what you do, plus you like it, okay, so you have an interest and aptitude for that. But if you want to like take it up as a career, you have to understand that you have to put in more effort at that. Okay, you don't mind putting the effort because you have an interest there. right? So aptitude is what you are good at right now. Okay, it could be like a subject like math or languages or commerce, or if you're good at accounting, okay, if you're good at computer science, these could be the subjects that you are good at. Or it could be non-academic, you have other skills. All right, so the other point to remember is that aptitudes can be developed over time. Okay, all right, now let us look at some of the aptitude factors and let's see what kind of roles will be suitable for this. All right, so mechanical is very obvious, engineering type of roles will be suitable. Numerical actually expands. So roles in engineering, in finance, you have your banking, your accounting, all of these areas will be related to finance. Numerical skills are important. Similarly, in software, in technology, all of these places, numerical skills are very important. Okay. Spatial skill means actually visualization. Okay, how well you are actually able to visualize something, how well you are actually able to think of something, okay, imagine something, that is your spatial skill. So spatial skill is very important for architecture, design, hospitality, all of these things. So if you are a chef, you need to have in your mind how the dish is going to look. If you are baking a cake, for example, you need to know how that cake is going to look and how you have to structure the cake to make it look like that. Correct? So spatial skills is very, very important for certain types of roles. Similarly, in medicine, specifically in surgery, okay, surgeons always sit and plan their surgery. No matter how experienced a surgeon is, nobody will just walk into the operating room without planning for the surgery, right? So what happens is they have to visualize how deep they are going to cut, where they are going to cut, what kind of things they're expecting to see once they cut into it. All of these things should be visualized, thought of before they go into surgery. The spatial skills are very important. The other area where spatial skills is very important is design. Okay, one type of design is where you have your interior design, you have your fashion design. You need to figure out how the dress is going to look, right, in your mind first. Correct? Only then you can actually design it on paper. So for interior fashion, all of these things, it is very important. For product design also, thinking of a completely new product. Okay, now you need to have good visualization and imaginative skills. Okay, verbal aptitude is very important for roles related to law, communication, media, management, all of these fields. And reasoning is very, very important. So reasoning actually is more like logical thinking. Okay, lot of places, when the biggest shock for students when they actually start working is that they realize that nothing is going to be spoon fed to them. They are actually expected to think about and come up with solutions for the different problems that they're going to be facing in work. So till you are in school, if you have trouble, you go to your teacher, they will explain everything for you, right? You will be spoon fed. Whereas one of the skills that is very, very important for working is the ability to problem solve, right? You have to think and come up with a solution for the problems that you're going to be facing. So reasoning skills is actually very important in all the fields. Actually, any different field that you can think of, it becomes very important because it is important for problem solving. Okay. So now let us look at some of the options that are available for students today. Okay. Like I said, everybody knows about engineering, everybody knows about medicine. So I will not be going into those fields. I will be touching upon the fields in commerce and humanities. Okay, more focused on that. Okay, and the roles available today in those fields. Okay, so primarily these are the main different types of fields available for students after class 12, right? So you have your core roles, okay, in accounting, audit, taxation, compliance related roles. Okay, so the most important courses, okay, remain the professional courses in CA, professional courses like your CA, CS, company secretary. You have your cost and management accounting. It used to be called ICWA earlier, now it's called cost accounting or management accounting. right? So these are actually the kind of core roles that people think of when they think of accounting, audit, taxation. But remember what I said in the beginning, that the world is changing. There are many other types of roles also becoming available now. Okay. For example, roles related to investment banking, right? So you have roles, valuation is one very, very important area, like, where you're valuing a startup. It's both an art and a science. So it's not enough if you are good at accounting for that. You have to know and understand how business works, how markets work. That kind of a thing becomes very, very important. Okay. Okay, then you have roles like insurance, financial markets related roles. Okay, insurance, India is one of the most underinsured markets in the world. So there's like enormous opportunity for insurance, risk management, all of these things. Okay, one of the newer roles that is coming up is that of analytics. So let me explain what this analytics is about. Okay, if you go to Max, or if you go to any store to buy something, what is the first thing that they ask you when you go to bill something? Ma'am, what is your phone number? Right, that is the first question that they have. Now, why are they collecting your phone number? Right, so they want to see what kind of things you are buying. Okay, what kind of things that people are buying, so they can make. So if they normally look at the bill, they will be able to make out, okay, what is it that a person has bought. But that is not enough for them. They want to understand what is it that makes you buy certain things. What kind of things that are you attracted to. So that is what they're trying to figure out through analytics. Okay, so this is going to be a very, very important area in the future, where there's going to be a lot of scope. Again, if you notice that this role, what I'm talking about, is not like one skill. Okay, I'm good at accounts, I can be an accountant. It's not like that, right? The skills that you need to become work in analytics are mixed. Okay, so what that means is you have to understand a little bit of psychology, you have to understand a little bit of economics, you have to understand a little bit of what makes the person buy marketing. You have to understand that. So a lot of different aspects are there involved in this field. Okay, so this is how the roles of the future are going to be, where we are going to have a need for a mixed kind of talent, a mixed kind of what do you say, the requirement. Okay, the roles are going to need you to have mixed kind of skills. Okay, BPO, KPO, let me talk about that also. So KPO, BPO, I think everybody knows. Okay, it's not just the irritating voice phone, telesellers that is part of the BPO. There is a lot of other, work also that happens. India is like primarily the back office of the world. So, a lot of such activities related to accounting, related to HR, related to taxation takes place in India while the Western world sleeps. So KPO is a very, very interesting option there. So you have let's say an investment banker sitting in New York. Now when he is waking up and coming to office, already half the world has gone through their financial day, right? Starting in Japan, then Southeast Asia, then India, then Middle East, all of Europe, all of these have already experienced half of the day. So when he comes to his desk in the morning, he needs to know what is going to happen for his day, right? So that's where actually a lot of the knowledge process outsourcing companies come into play. So they prepare financial reports for these bankers in New York, so that when they come to work, it is easy for them to know and understand where the market is headed, what are the important things that have happened in the world today, all of these things. So that's where the BPO, KPO roles come into the picture. All right. So students who have taken arts or humanities, they must be wondering, what kind of roles can I do, right? So these are some of the choices that are available. So in this, let me talk about design. Again, design, we spoke about it, is very, very important, right? So let us talk about roles like social media management, We can talk about psychology, right? Behavioral economist is a new role around the world. Okay, what does a behavioral economist do? It is a combination of psychology and economics. Okay, and there are not even courses available in India as yet. Okay, so you have to have a mix of psychology and economics. Okay, so if you are a humanities student, then this can actually be a very good career for you, because in today's world you don't know where your client is going to be sitting. Your company might be in let's say Madhya Pradesh, but your client is sitting in Dubai, right? So you don't know how things, who is going to be buying your product. It's a small world, it's a shrunken world. So behavioral economics talks about the psychology of how to get people to spend the money. Okay, that is what it is about. So behavioral economics is a combination of economics and psychology. All right. Yeah. So now let us also talk about the marketing management kind of roles. So you have like social media management, you have marketing, you have digital marketing, you have visual merchandising, lots of roles in these sectors, in this management and related sectors. Economics also, like I said, one of the fields that where there's a huge shortage for economists and psychologists is surprisingly the field of data science. Okay, so when data science companies are actually looking for economics and psychology majors, but since every other student has actually become an engineer in the last 20 years, there's a huge shortage of people who have studied other courses, can do other things. Okay, so this is where it becomes important to think about your career and then make a choice. Okay, all right. Now, one of the options that are available to students today, which was not there earlier, is the type of education called liberal education. Okay, so earlier it was called liberal arts, but now it is not liberal arts alone, it's a combination of different things. Okay, so let me just give you an example. Okay, in the field of computer science, what is happening is coding used to be like a very, very important job, and it still is today. Okay, but the kind of people who are coding, okay, that role, the number of people actually is shrinking. Okay, 20 years if you saw, software testing was a great job, but now most of the testing is automated. Okay, it is there's a program that has been written to test something, so that throws up all the bugs. There is no need for human intervention. So the role has not gone away completely, but still it has become very specialized and niche, so only few people are there who are in the testing field. Okay, similarly coding is going to go the same way. So who are the people who are going to be working in the tech sector? People who have a lot of thinking skills, people who can actually problem solve, people who have an understanding of different sectors. To be able to work in some field like cyber security or artificial intelligence, you need to have multi level skills, multidisciplinary skills. So that is what liberal education in India is all about. Okay, that is what liberal. So it's a fairly new concept. Liberal arts has been around for a long time. So if you go to Delhi University, JNU, you can find courses like that, like liberal arts related education. But today we are not talking about that. We are talking about an education where you can actually be graduating in economics, but you will have subjects like computer science, or you'll be learning a language, or you'll be learning about digital marketing, or you'll be learning about entrepreneurship, right? So that is what actually liberal education is all about. Let us just take a slightly in-depth look. Okay, what does liberal education? It actually stresses the importance of acquiring transferable skills of research and analysis versus the acquiring of factual information. So if you go to a traditional college, traditional degree, you will be very good at coming up with facts, understanding facts, but you will have no ability to apply that in a real world situation. Okay, whereas if you go to a liberal education college, you will be able to think and apply those facts that you have learned to real life situation. Okay, so it is very important to learn how to learn. That is one of the most important things. About 10-15 years back, people used to say, I'm done with my education, I don't have to study anymore. And if you don't go to college, if you don't study anything after that, that was fine. Okay, in our parents' generation, it could happen. But in today's generation, when you people are going to be starting work in another 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that kind of an attitude is not going to be helpful. You have to constantly learn and relearn and reskill yourself. So it is not about retrieval of information, it's about renewal of information. You have to be able to actually relearn what you have already learned and do it in a proper way to be able to be successful. So what does liberal education is about? Liberal education has 4 aspects, okay, and it combines all the 4 aspects. So you have arts, related to arts, economics, psychology, history, subjects like this. Then you have related to business and commerce, like you have your entrepreneurship, you have your organizational behavior, you have your accounting, you have your taxation, related to stuff like that. Then you have things related to natural sciences, okay, or related to any kind of sciences, okay. So like computer science, for example. So it's a very, very important part of the liberal education. And then humanities, right? So it's going to be like a combination of all of these things, liberal education, right? So this is a new concept in India. In abroad, it has always been around. So if you look at some of the statistics, 9% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are actually from private liberal arts colleges. 23% of the US educated Nobel laureates are from liberal arts colleges. 27% of US presidents are from liberal arts colleges. And 14% of tenured Harvard Law College professors, okay, they're all from a liberal arts background. Okay, so these are some of the things that have been happening. Okay, going forward, how you can expect liberal arts to contribute to the society. Okay,
ma'am, I would like to add, Chanakya is a liberal.
Chanakya is a liberal arts university. Okay, all right, that's great. Yeah. All right, so this is a very, very important, area that is going to come up in the future. This is going to be like the future actually, because it is not enough if you just have one type of education anymore. Specialized education is not going to be like the future. So you have to actually have from a different types of skills, different types of abilities, different types of thinking power. Okay, you have to actually merge all these things that can actually lead you to become successful. So if you look at Steve Jobs, he was not from a computer science background. Okay, he didn't know even one line of coding, but he ran one of the top tech companies for many, many years. Okay, so this is going to be the future. This is going to be the future of education. This is what people are looking for in workplaces now. Okay, so let me just quickly summarize and then I can open up for questions if any. Okay, so what are the important tips and techniques that you have to remember to make the right career choice? You have to know yourself. You have to understand yourself. Okay, that is the first point. So when we say know yourself, we are talking about knowing your personality, understanding your interests, understanding your aptitudes. Okay. Second point that you have to know is to understand the options that are available to you. So today, if you don't know that a career called information security analyst is available, you will think that all software is about coding. It is not. Okay, the skills that are needed for you to be able to do some of these works, especially in the cyber security field, especially in the artificial intelligence field, is not about coding. It is about understanding the problem and figuring out how to solve it. So understand the options which are available to you. Third thing is understand which of the choices are suitable for you. So for this, it is good if you go through a systematic program that allows you to explore different options, that gives a proper test to analyze, to evaluate where you stand, what kind of personality you have, what kind of aptitude you have. It is good if you take that up, okay, and then understand. That will help you to understand which choices are suitable for you. The last one is to try and choose a path that allows you to try many things. So this is the age for trying out many different things. This is the time in your education when you should be looking to acquire as many different types of skills as possible. Okay, so try to choose a path that allows you to try many things, because this is going to be the way of the future. Okay, so if you look at the national education policy also that came out in 2020, this has been the crux, this has been the push. Okay, try to have multidisciplinary skills, try to develop multidisciplinary skills that will allow you to be successful in any field that you choose. Okay, just a quick slide on Lodestar career guidance. So this is what we do actually. So career guidance, kind of helps students understand what the problem is and understand what is good for them, what are the options that are suitable for them, and they help you to make a good decision. All right. So you can always reach out to Chanakya University to know more about how to choose a right career. Okay. And we are happy to be happy to help you out. Reach out to us through Chanakya University. All right. So this is the end of my presentation. So any questions you have, I will be happy to answer now. Any questions, students? Any part of this that you don't understand or you want me to repeat once again, I can do that. Please let me know. I know you will have questions in your mind. I know you will have doubts in your mind. All right. So if you have no questions, maybe I can ask you all some questions. Okay. It is more fun if everybody participates. It is more fun if, if it's interactive. Okay. All right. So today, one of the first points that we were talking about is how the world has actually changing, how the world is changing. And there are many new roles that have come up, many new companies that have come up. Okay, one question that I have for all of you is, can you name a few companies which are like household names today, but didn't even, were not famous, or many people didn't even know that they existed till about, maybe 5-7 years back. Can you give me some examples of that? Can somebody think of some options? Sahana, Uday, Ambika. Can you think of some companies which are like household names today, but were not even there, or were not famous till about 5-7 years back? You can type out your answers in the chat window. If you don't want to unmute your mic, you can type out your answers in the chat window. Let me give you a clue. Okay. Whenever you want to buy a book, what do you do? Earlier, you used to go to a bookstore and buy a book. Okay. Now, what do you do? What is the first thing? Where do you check the first thing? You check on Flipkart or Amazon or some store like that. Yes. Okay. How about if you want to buy a t-shirt? Okay. People used to go to shops earlier. People used to go to markets earlier to buy clothes and things like that. Now, where do people order clothes from? From Myntra, from Agio, from, even Flipkart and Amazon itself sell everything. Correct? Okay. How do you, what do you do if you want to travel from one place to another? You used to take an auto, or you used to hire a call taxi and go. Now, what do you do? You actually take a Uber or a Ola and you go from one place to another. Okay. Now, when you are traveling, if you used to get lost, what you used to do? You used to stop somewhere and you used to check with the store owner or shopkeeper somewhere, or some people standing there. Hey, how to go to this place, right? But today, what do? You don't ask any people, you only ask Google. Correct? So you use Google Maps to go from one place to another. Okay. How are you actually ordering food now? When you used to order earlier, when Domino's and Pizza Hut came out with this 30 minutes or free offer first, maybe like some 10 years ago, you were also excited. I'm sure, as you know, you might have been small kids and you might be remembering that. Okay. But today, okay, there are so many options available, not only for pizzas, but also for Indian food, Indian you use your Swiggy, Zomato, all of these to actually order food, right? So I can keep going on and on and on like this, right? For everything now we have a tech version of it, right? Starting from, even things like attending school. Okay, who thought it could actually take a whole tech route kind of thing, right? But that is what is happening. So technology has become very, very pervasive in all aspects of your life. Okay, so now every single area, there is no area where technology is not involved. So the world has actually changed and new types of roles have come up, new types of what do you say, opportunities have come up. Okay, so that is one thing that is very important to understand. It's a whole different world now. Okay, so that was the first point that I wanted to reiterate. Okay, so any questions, any other questions? I'm still open for questions. Anything that you have in mind, anything that you want to know about? Okay, so I'll address one more important point now. Okay, many students come to me and ask, ma'am, artificial intelligence is going to change everything. Okay, intelligence is going to take over our world, right? We're not going to be having jobs in the future. So how can we even prepare for this? How can we even plan for this, right? Okay, so what I tell them is, AI is going to definitely change the future. Okay, AI is definitely going to make some jobs redundant. Some of the jobs are going to go away. Okay, but in that place, what is going to happen is newer jobs are going to be created. Okay, this is very, very important because always people have been scaring. Hey, I remember very clearly when I was in college, one of our professors came and announced, well, congratulations, all of you are studying a useless course. There are going to be no more need for accountants because computers are doing all the accounting now. Okay, Windows has come. Microsoft has launched Windows that is going to do all the accounting from now on. So there's no need for accounting. You're all studying a useless course. Congratulations. Okay, but has it gone away? Has actually accounting as a role gone away? Has accounting as a career, has it gone away? It hasn't, right? The way people do accounting has changed. Definitely, people used to have these big books called ledgers that you used to fill in and write all the time, but now nobody does that anymore. It is all done on the system, on the software. If you just scan a bill, the moment a bill is generated, it gets accounted. Okay, so the traditional accounting is not there anymore, but that does not mean that there is no field called accounting. There is no role for accountants. Okay, it is very much there and it is one of the fastest growing fields actually. Okay, so what has happened is the kind of accounting that people do has changed. It is no longer manual, it is no longer tedious, it is no longer routine, mundane stuff like sitting and adding a page full of numbers. Now people have moved on to solving more interesting problems, how to do accounting across the world, how to get the most of a tax benefit from the rules that are there. So things that need thinking, decision making, all of these things are actually have become more important now, right? So that is what was going to happen going forward into the future also. So the routine, mundane, tedious jobs are all going to go away. Okay, but you are going to find new roles in that place which are going to be in demand, new roles which are going to be in force going forward. Okay, especially if you look at the field of, let's say, AI, for example. Okay, it is not enough if you know coding, you have to understand. So if you have to build an AI that writes like Shakespeare, for example, okay, You have to know how Shakespeare writes, okay, how his language is used, how his words usages, all of these things, right? So it is important to actually know and understand that different types of jobs are going to get created. Of course, some jobs are going to become redundant, but different types of jobs are going to get created. So there's no need to be fearful of AI or afraid of AI, because it is not going to just make all your jobs disappear magically. It is just, a tool that is going to create more jobs. All right. So this is what I would like to say, that AI is very good at doing stuff that is boring for humans, like routine, mundane things. Whatever is boring for the humans, AI is very good at doing that. But humans are very good at doing things that AI can't do. AI can't even identify a cat, a picture of a cat, which any 4-year-old human can easily do. Correct? So AI is doing good at different things, humans are good at doing different things. So this becomes important to understand that thinking skills are important. You have to develop thinking skills, problem solving skills, all of these things to be successful in the future. All right. So this is one of the important other points that normally comes up in my conversation with students. Okay. All right. So any other questions from your side? Any doubts that you have? Please feel free to ask. If you have any questions, please type it up in the chat window also. I'm free to answer any question that you may have.
Yeah, Ramya, one question on behalf of students.
Yes, sir.
I mean, see, we are talking of liberal education, multidisciplinary and all, right? I mean, if you have two subjects of interest from different domains, it allows you to choose. Even Chanakya University has that. Okay, but how is it helpful in strengthening, my career? What is the advantage of that in building my career?
Yes. So if you see one thing, the moment actually you start learning different subjects, okay, and this happens from a very young age in foreign countries, okay. Social studies is not taught like social studies. There is no separate subject called social studies. If you look at, schools abroad, okay, they will do English comprehension, and in that they will do social studies. So what you are expected to read and understand is a science fact, is a social studies passage, and you're expected to answer questions in that. Okay, so this is how subjects are taught around the world. So it's a cross interdimensional learning, cross multidisciplinary learning. Okay, so if you look at drawing class, okay, they will be asked to draw the life cycle of a butterfly, okay, which is there, the biology drawing which you're doing as part of biology. It will be taught to the students in a fun way. Okay, so now this aspect is not there in our Indian education system. It is going to come because of NEP. That is the point of NEP, right? So now when you come to college and you actually take up these skills, when you take up subjects like this, what happens is you are thinking through multiple different angles. Okay, so you're not just thinking from one dimension. Okay, I'll use the example of the cyber security example that I was giving earlier. Any idea who the top professionals in cyber security area are? Any idea? Let me give you a clue. It is not computer science graduates. It is actually chartered accountants. Okay, chartered accountants have this whole course about information systems audit. Okay, that they actually are very, very good at doing, because they know what is the thing to look at. So doing financial auditing has built your skills in auditing, that you know how to look for loopholes, you know what are the things that are missing, you know where are the gaps. So that becomes very, very important to identify. You are only doing it in the cyber security field, that's all, but the principles remain the same. So what happens is, let's say you are learning systems, Okay, let's say you are doing a BCA or you're doing some course related to computer science. But if you've learned auditing also on the side, you will make a fantastic information security auditor, because you have knowledge of both what is technically required in the computer science field, as well as you have the knowledge of how to do an audit. What are the things that you should be looking out for? Where are the loopholes? So this makes you doubly strong in that field. Okay, so this is one example, okay, where there is this interdisciplinary thing coming up, and where people are actually being successful. So like I said, unless you are in research, let's say you are researching the coronavirus, in which case you only have to study the coronavirus, you have to go deep into that particular field. But 90% of the jobs that are out there today are not so one dimensional in nature. Okay, let us say you are creating a, let's say, a marketing campaign, okay, for you're working as a marketing analyst somewhere. So what do you need to understand? You need to understand, why people will spend money. So you need to understand the psychology of people. You need to understand how to price the product. Okay, when I say price the product, you have to decide what the pricing should be for that particular product that you are launching. Who are the target audience? What is the market? If you are launching McDonald's for the first time in India, okay, you will not go and put it next to an office, because nobody who is 40 years old is going to come to McDonald's for lunch on their own every day. But if you set up a Darshini there, then people are going to come there and eat bisi bele baat, right? So this understanding, it cannot be taught from just a single perspective, from a single point of view. You need to have a wide and varied perspective to be able to actually do this kind of analysis. Okay, so that is where learning different subjects, combinations of different subjects, it actually becomes very, very important, because you are developing these skills as you are studying the subjects. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, sir.
No, thank you. Thank you. I think it's more for students. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. So, okay.
We have the time to start the next session.
Okay. So, okay. So let me cover, like, a few offbeat careers, okay, which are coming up now. Okay, offbeat careers which are coming up now. One of the careers that where we expect to see, a lot of scope going forward. Everybody knows about technology. Everybody knows about computer science. Everybody knows about, what do you say? The traditional roles. Everybody knows that medicine is always going to be in demand. Okay, but let us look at some of the offbeat roles. Okay, what are some of the new roles that are coming up? Okay. So first one that I would like to talk about is that of a role related to sports. Okay, everybody knows that sporting events are huge now. Okay, nobody used to pay importance to sports in India all these years, but that changed after we started winning gold medals at the Olympics for different sports. So sports is going to be one area where there's going to be a lot of scope going forward. And when I say sports, it is not just related to, let us say, playing of the sport. Okay. Now, if you take an event like IPL, you know how many people are working behind the scenes to actually make the event successful. Okay, starting from the event managers who are planning which matches should be played. Okay, that is like the first step. Now, I'm not even talking about all the kind of work that goes into auctioning the players and selecting the players for the different teams. Okay, now I'm talking about once that is done, it is just the event aspect of it. Okay, just think about it. So first you have to decide which team is going to play whom where is the finals going to happen, where is the semi-finals going to happen. Okay, starting from that, where are the sports people going to be put up? Okay, what kind of facilities are we giving them? What kind of sponsorships are we tying up? What kind of advertising goes into each of these things? which logo should come on the t-shirt of the player, on the sleeve of the player. Okay, what kind of logo should come where? Okay, what kind of bat should the person use? What kind of ball should we use for the sports? So things like this. Okay, then there are roles related to analyzing this performance, like so what kind of ball gets a batsman out most of the time. Okay, so let's say off spin gets a batsman out most of the time. You know that is a weak point for him. So you have analysts like this sitting and looking at every ball what you have played to kind of understand where your weaknesses and what kind of ball will get a batsman out. Similarly, the analysts for the batsmen are figuring out, okay, what kind of a ball does this guy put most of the time? So let me figure out how to tackle that ball, right? So that is why the sport is getting more and more interesting and more tough. It is not just that you chuck a ball and the person hits. It's not like that. There's so much of analysis that is going into these sports, right? If you take a sport like badminton, like so starting from what kind of bats to use, what kind of strokes to play to make sure that this person drops you. So there's a lot of analysis that is going into the sports, right? So this is the other area where there's a lot of demand. So if you like math and you like sports, then this is like a fantastic area to be in. Okay, now to the extent that IIM Rohtak has actually introduced a new PG diploma in sports management, because there's a huge demand for people in this area and there's not enough people from this area. So definitely sports is like one big area where you can see there's going to be a lot of roles going, a lot of roles of the future. Okay, then the next one that I would like to talk about is cyber security, right? Roles related to privacy, roles related to ethics, roles related to safety of people online. This is like a big thing that is going on around the world. There's like a lot of, so before the COVID started, this was one of the biggest thing. Okay, how is Facebook collecting your data and what are they doing with that data? Right? So privacy laws were like big in Europe and US and all these places, and of course it is going to come to India as well going forward, right? So roles related to any of these things, okay, becomes very important. So triple IT, for example, okay, International Institute of Information Technology in Bangalore, which is one of the top colleges in India to study technology, to study computer science, has a MSc in Digital Society course. What is this course about? This course is about understanding the ethics, understanding how technology affects society as a whole, understanding how technology can be used to better the society, right? So all these are very interesting problems that people are trying to tackle, that colleges and courses are trying to tackle. So if you don't have like an all-around development, if you don't have like a holistic view, it is very difficult to do roles like this. There is no point in being single dimensional anymore. You have to actually be multi-dimensional, have be study multiple subjects, learn about multiple different options. Okay, so this also becomes very important. So roles related to cyber security, roles related to sports are two areas where we see a lot of future. Okay, third is roles related to analytics. Okay, we spoke a little bit about business analytics, about marketing, and like how your phone number is collected and how it is being used. So this aspect is there across all the fields. Okay, so if you go to any type of shop, they ask for your phone number. So they are actually building a full profile about you, right? And figuring out what kind of decisions you are likely to make going forward. If somebody gives you a loan, will you take that loan and run away? What is the probability of you trying to max out your credit card, right? So these become very important. So risk and fraud analytics is another area where there is going to be like a lot of demand in the future. Okay, again, it's a very multi-dimensional role. It is not enough if you just know one thing. You have to understand the people's mentality. You have to understand the system. All of these things you have to understand before you can be successful at this role. Okay, so this is the third role that I would like to talk about, that will actually likely to have a great future going forward.